headlines. INEC releases 2023 general elections guidelines, bans campaigns in churches and mosques. Panic in Zamfara as bandits demand 20 million naira as peace deal levy. Abuja-Kaduna train services resume Monday, November 28. Hello and welcome to News Update on Trust Television. I am Nten Ekpan. And on the news in full, residents of Indangdogo community of Maradun local government area in Zamfara State say they have been living in fear because the terrorist kingpin Bello Turji has imposed a levy of 20 million naira on them to pay or face attack. With the deadline for the payment of the levy to Bello Turji is said to be Sunday, 27 November, residents of the community are struggling to raise the 20 million levy to avoid being attacked. A resident who left the troubled community said since he has no money to contribute the 25,000 he was asked to pay to the community for the payment of the levy, he decided to live with his family to a relatively safer environment. Reports say many residents of the community have since fled to other places, leaving only few people whom they say may not be able to raise the 20 million naira for Turji. When asked if they have reported the matter to the security agencies, the residents said that they did not report to security agencies because they are aware of their current security challenges in the troubled area. Zamfara State Police Command says 8 tactical operatives in collaboration with vigilantes have rescued 6 abducted women and a 1-year-old child in Zurumi local government area of that state. A statement issued by the command's public relations officer Muhammad Shehu Nguso said the police tactical operatives acted on intelligence regarding the abduction. It said the police operatives mobilized to the location where a search and rescue operation was conducted along the Zurumi-Jibia axis, leading to the unconditional rescue of all the victims unhurt. The police image maker in Zamfara State said the victims were taken to the hospital for medical check, debriefed by the police detectives and handed over to their families. The Commissioner of Police, Kolo Yusuf, while commending the police operatives and vigilantes for the successful rescue operation, congratulated the victims for regaining their freedom and reiterated the command's continuous determination to reach the state of criminal activities and apprehend criminal elements. Suspected bandits have killed 15 villagers in 3 local government areas in Kaduna State. 11 residents were killed in Girwa local government, while 2 were killed each in Kajuru and Birnin Gwari local government areas. The attack in Girwa, where 11 people died, happened on Friday evening, but details of the incidents remained sketchy at the time of filing this report. However, the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs in the state, Samuel Arawan, confirmed the killings. In a statement issued on Friday, Arawan noted that the state government sent its condolences to the families of the victims. Now, with the 2023 general elections 3 months away, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has released its guidelines for the conduct of political activities. The Commission, in a 6-page document titled Conduct of Political Rallies, Processions and Campaigns, prohibited the use of abusive language and hate speech, as well as campaigns and political rallies in places of worship. It also stated that no person attending a political rally, procession or campaign should be in possession of any offensive weapon. The only people authorized to carry arms at such events, according to INEC, are police officers or members of security agencies who are specifically posted to be present at the respective political rallies or processions. The Commission mandated political parties to submit a notification of the schedule of their campaigns, stating the date, time, venue, agenda, and list of members of the organizing committee and police approval within the jurisdiction of the campaigns within the minimum period of not later than 10 days to the commencement of their campaigns. A federal high court in the FCT Abuja has fined the People's Redemption Party, the PRP, and presidential candidate Kola Abiola over their failure to file necessary documents in time. Justice Fadima Aminu also fined the PRP over its delay in filing its counter-affidavit in opposition to an aspirant's amended originating summons. The judge is hearing a suit filed by Patience Ndidiki, a presidential aspirant in the June 5 PRP primary election. Abiola and PRP were penalized after his counsel Magnus Ihejurika said the defense lawyers were yet to serve their counter-affidavits. Ihejurika described the situation as a deliberate attempt to stall proceedings and demanded a cost of 20,000 naira. The lawyer accused the defendants of employing a delay tactic to stall the hearing and determination. Justice Aminu, who said the cost should not be a punishment, but a compensation, ordered the PRP and Abiola to pay 20,000 naira each to Ihejurika. The judge adjourned the matter to December 2 for definite hearing. The People's Democratic Party, the PDP, has cautioned the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN Olukayode Ariwoola, to be neutral and not to dabble in the internal political affairs of the party. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunaba, in a statement on Saturday, flayed the CJN over his comment that he is elated that Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State is a member of the G5 or the Integrity Group. Ariwoola had reportedly made the statement on Thursday at a dinner held in his honor by Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State in Port Harcourt. The G5 is made up of 5 aggrieved governors of the PDP calling for the resignation of the party's national chairman, Iyorchia Ayu, as a precondition to support the PDP presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. The G5 wants Ayu to step down over what they described as northern dominance within the party. However, the PDP said by delving into the internal affairs of the PDP at the public event in Port Harcourt, the CGN is viewed to be encouraging division in the party, adding that the CGN's action is unacceptable and inconsistent with his status as the head of the judicial arm of government. The Supreme Court, meanwhile, has condemned reports quoting the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN Justice Olukayode Ariwoola, to have said that he is happy that Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State is a member of the G5 within the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. The Supreme Court, in a statement on Saturday signed by the Director of Press and Information, Akonde Festus, denied that the CJN made such remark, describing it as a misconception and misrepresentation of what he said in order to score a cheap political goal. The statement said the CJN and other senior judicial officers were in Rivers State on Thursday and Friday 2022 to commission the 2 buildings to accommodate the Federal Judicial Service Commission's South-South Liaison Office and the Justice Mary Peter Odili Judicial Institute conceptualized by the state government. It explained that at the banquet on Thursday night, the CJN only stated jovially that being that Makinde married from Rivers State and is equally very close to Governor Nyesom Wike, he will be able to replicate the developmental strides of the latter in Oyo State for the good of the citizenry. The statement added that anything assumed, presumed, reported, or placed in the public domain outside the above fact is simply a mere figment of the imagination of such authors and doesn't in any way represent what the CJN said in Port Harcourt. The Oyo State Police Command has given insight on how a man caught with a double-faced jackknife at the Labour Party presidential campaign rally in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, was arrested. Now, some eyewitnesses had alleged that the suspect positioned himself in a place the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi was expected to walk through to the podium. Reports also claimed that the Wednesday incident was an assassination attempt on the former Anambra State governor. But a statement issued on Saturday by the Oyo State Police Public Relations Officer Adewole Osifeso said The report was untrue, misleading, and a product of a figment of the imagination of the author. Identifying the suspect as Lateef Wasiu, the command spokesperson said the suspect was arrested by police operatives stationed at the venue for being in possession of a concealed weapon in violation of the 2022 Electoral Act and other guiding regulations. The statement added that Lateef Wasiu has already been charged to court. And the federal government says train services on the Abuja-Kaduna rail line will reopen on Monday. A spokesman for the Nigerian Railway Corporation, Yakub Mahmood, disclosed this to our correspondent on Saturday. He said ahead of the resumption on Monday, the NRC, that's the National Railway Council, will release further details on the operations on Sunday to the public. And recall that the Minister of Transportation, Muazu Jaji Sambo, had announced the train services will resume this month. He had also said the train service will resume only when adequate security had been put in place. Now, some of the new security measures to be ready ahead of the resumption are the installation of real-time monitoring surveillance equipment on the corridor. The Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar III, has called on the federal government to permanently resolve its lingering disputes with the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, to avoid further strikes. He made the remark over the weekend in Maiduguri. Now, various arms of ASU have been staging demonstrations to protest federal government's pro-rata payment of the October salaries, while some have taken certain decisions that will affect the academic calendar to the detriment of students. The Sultan called on Nigerian leaders to make the people the priority in all aspects of governance, emphasizing that deliberate efforts should be made to ensure that students were not denied education.
So when you're talking about private schools and public schools, you have to also talk to the teachers. Because I've been involved with ASU negotiations in the last 15 years, Because it's not just right. You can dialogue and have what you think is right for you by talking to one another. But keeping the children at home, if I have money, I'll take them out to anywhere. And they will go to school. So let's not blame people not taking their children to private schools. I'm sure when I came down yesterday, from the airport to where the governor put me, where the sheriff put me. The sheriff is the landlord of the governor.
You're watching News Update on Trust Television. Coming up after the break, how stakeholders are planning to end female circumcision in Osun State. Do stay with us.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-35 1414 or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching News Update on Trust Television, a recap of our top stories. INEC releases 2023 general elections guidelines, bans campaigns in churches and mosques. Panic in Zamfara as bandits demand 20 million naira as peace deal levy. And moving to other stories now, Nasarawa State government has threatened to ban commercial keke napep and motorcycle operators over violation of environmental sanitation exercise in that state. The state chief prosecuting officer on the violators of the exercise, Mohammed Abubakar, stated this while addressing journalists shortly after the exercise in Lafia. Abubakar Abdullahi sent in a report as presented from our studio.
The Nasarawa State Chief Prosecuting Officer on the violators of environmental sanitation exercise, Muhammad Abubakar, who appreciated the level of compliance by some parts of the state, said the attitude of commercial tricyclists and motorcycle operators, if not checked, would affect the environmental sanitation exercise negatively.
For the shops, all shops will remain closed. We went round and we have found it. So it is a plus to this exercise. But for the Keke Napep and this thing, there are still hitches and going in association. So we are calling on their leaders and warn them through their leaders. If they continue, then we will ban the use of even motorcycle and Keke Napep in Nasarawa State.
He said 73 persons have already been arrested, most of them motorists, over violation of the exercise. The Chief Prosecuting Officer explained that those arrested were prosecuted before a mobile court and sanctions meted upon them based on the gravity of their offences. Nasarawa State Commissioner for Environmental and Natural Resources, Yakubu Kwanta, described the level of compliance as impressive and attributed it to the support from security agencies, traditional rulers, the media, as well as the inspection team from the ministry.
And because of high degree level of enforcement that we're embarking on, you know, there is a very serious collaboration with the security apparatus. The Nigeria police and other sister agencies are really collaborating with a view to seeing that our enforcement see the light of the day, and we're getting results.
The commissioner commended the residents, especially shop owners, for clearing drainages around their environment, adding that such efforts have reduced the impact of the 2022 floods in the state. He also disclosed that the state government, in collaboration with the World Bank, has embarked on massive construction of drainages to address ecological problems in some parts of the state.
Now, the myth that uncircumcised females tend to be promiscuous has been dismissed as untrue, as stakeholders in Osun State unanimously agreed that the age-long cultural practice is detrimental to girls and women. Hamid Oyegbade has more.
Female genital mutilation involves the partial or total removal of external female genitalia or other injury to the female genital organs. It is one of the most dangerous cultural practices in Nigeria. According to the Nigeria Demographic and Health Survey in 2013, Osun State had the highest prevalence rate of the practice in the country. There was a traditional belief that uncircumcised females tend to be promiscuous. The Commissioner for Health in Osun State, Rafiu Isamotu, dismissed the belief as untrue.
It's a horrible thing. There is this practice that people would, if a female child is circumcised, that is going to reduce promiscuity. That is not true.
As part of the efforts to eradicate FGM practice in Osun State, health workers were trained on national protocol for the clinical management of FGM survivors and provision of FGM services. Lola Adewale, the gender focal person at the Osun State Ministry of Women and Children Affairs, said the prevalence rate of the practice has reduced drastically in Osun State.
You show people or you explain to them the consequences, the long-term consequences and the short-term consequences of it. You show them or you make them realize the effect, the health effect of female genital mutilation, that it is not even an antidote to promiscuity.
Female genital mutilation is a menace, and it's something it's an age-long practice that is rooted in gender inequality and gender disparity.
One of the participants, Oludamilola Olaoye, said the training deepened her knowledge of FGM. She promised to support the advocacy to end the practice.
Female genital mutilation has never been a good thing. Right from our training in school, we are aware of the fact that it has a lot of detriments, a lot of disadvantages, and a lot of side effects.
Meanwhile, Osun State has enacted a law to deter people from indulging in the practice. Amit Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
In business, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, says official foreign exchange receipt from crude oil sales into Nigeria's official reserves has dried up steadily from above $3.0 billion monthly in 2014 to an absolute $0. It disclosed this at the 57th annual Bankers Dinner organized by the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIBN, in Lagos at the weekend. He noted that the Nigerian foreign exchange market is in the middle of a serious crunch, which is straining the reserves and stifling the value of the naira. Market demands for both goods and invisible transactions has continued to increase under various uses in the face of dwindling supply of foreign exchange. It is against the backdrop of the worsening mismatch between foreign exchange market demand and supply and the need to boost foreign exchange earnings that the CBN and the Bankers Committee initiated the RT200 program in February 2022. On the foreign scene, the Democratic Republic of Congo says it will hold presidential and parliamentary elections on December 20, 2023, kicking off a year of complex preparations in the vast Central African country, large parts of which are overrun by military violence. Announcing the date at the ceremony in Kinshasa on Saturday, the electoral body Seni outlined several challenges, including the logistics of transporting ballot materials thousands of miles, health concerns about Ebola and COVID-19, and unrest that has forced hundreds of thousands to flee their homes. But the government has pledged to stick to the timetable in the country of 80 million people. Government spokesman Patrick Moyaya said it is not a question of negotiating with the constitutional deadlines, but of the government respecting the deadlines and consolidating democracy. He said that the election will cost about $600 million, more than $415 million of which has already been budgeted. A number of people are feared to have been killed after a mudslide triggered by heavy rains swept away homes on the island of Ischia near Naples. The torrent of mud and debris dislodged trees, engulfed buildings, and dragged cars into the sea as it reached the coast early on Saturday. A 25-year-old woman and a family, including a newborn baby, are reportedly missing. Bad weather is said to be hampering efforts to reach the island. The mayor of Laco Ameno, one of the island's towns, said dozens of families were still cut off and that a number of buildings had collapsed. Several people are also reportedly stuck inside a hotel in the island. Interior Minister Matteo Piantedosi told reporters the situation was very complicated, adding that the people missing were believed to be trapped under the mud. And in sports, Robert Lewandowski scored his first World Cup goal as Poland earned a crucial victory over Saudi Arabia that leaves Group C wide open. The Barcelona striker capitalized on an error by Saudi Arabia midfielder Abdelullah Al-Malaki before sending a composed finish past on-rushing goalkeeper Mohamed Al-Owais. Lewandowski was visibly emotional after ending a run of 4 World Cup games without finding the net. Piotr Zelensky had given Poland a first-half lead from Lewandowski's cutback, but Saudi Arabia were awarded a penalty 5 minutes later for Christian Bielik's foul on Saleh Al-Shehri. Lewandowski's late strike ended Saudi Arabia's hopes of building on Tuesday's remarkable victory over Argentina and boosts Poland's hopes of reaching the last 16 for the first time since 1986, when they were beaten 4-0 by Brazil in the first knockout round. And with that story, we've come to the end of News Update this hour. Thanks for watching, but do remember to connect with us across all our social media platforms. I am Ntem Ekpang. Many thanks for watching. Bye-bye.